Oh,
there he is.
Working Title Podcast. Live the Dream Media Network. Download the app.
Okay, our work here is done.
All right.
Our work here is done. We're out. Hey, you know what, Chris? This room has been on fire this morning. One influencer and leader after another, and I am just thrilled that I get to hang out with you to wrap up a beautiful morning.
So I heard you had Streeter on from Marana School Districts.
What a good guy. The more I spend time with him, the more I'm impressed by his leadership skills.
No, like I said, as a school district that admitted they weren't teaching reading properly, and then they said we're going to do it better.
Yeah,
that doesn't happen.
No. Yeah, he killed it. David asked some incredible questions. David, the CEO of Live the Dream Media. David Samorano. And then Jessica Moats, a leader in finance, had Mr. Lopez. Humberto
Bert Lopez.
Yeah. And then look at here we go.
Absolutely.
So this is pretty cool. This is a good day at Live the Dream Media.
So I saw you were very angry at your phone. Now this wasn't a she shed moment.
No.
All right. And it wasn't. You weren't happy because it wasn't your AI assistant trying to help you take over the world.
Yes.
So political.
Yes. Here's my thing. Every one of them.
What's your thing?
Every one of them get deleted and reported as junk. I don't care who you are. First off, I'm not reading it. You're invading my privacy. You're coming in my home on my phone, and I'm.
It sounds cute, but so when you report it as junk,
nobody's paying attention.
Okay, so it's
but
for
it
you.
makes me feel
it's
better.
For you. I got it. It's like
obviously it's not working. I'm getting 10 of these a day.
It's your text Karen moment.
Yeah.
I reported this to management.
Yeah.
You are now. I don't know what I did. I can't tell you the secret sauce here from the DeSimone perspective. But as a guy I've worked with campaigns. I taught politics all days.
16 years now.
I rarely get text messages on political. I don't know what I'm doing.
2, 3, 4 day for the last 2 or 3 months.
The Democrat Party has my name from something. Well, they have my phone number from something, but they think my name is Christine.
Okay,
which is great.
Yeah.
Right. And so sometimes I don't report them like management to management like you do, but I do string them along a little bit if I have a little fun.
Yeah.
But that's the only one I get. I don't get anything else.
Really?
I don't know what I'm doing.
I'll have to keep track of how many I'm really getting. But it's 3 or 4 every day, probably.
Now, we've killed about 127 old forest trees just in Pima County alone on postcards. Right?
Yeah.
And as I said on Facebook a few days ago, I'm going through this pile of crap. I mean, I got, everyone else, you guys got your 15 pounds of postcards. And there's a local cabinet company
mixed in there
that paid for a mailing postcard to market their cabinet refurnishing business. And I said, what's going on here?
Yeah. Not good use of bad timing. How about that?
If you're listening, give us info@ltdmedia.com and I'll have our sales team come work with you.
Yeah.
On your,
that's funny you'd mention that because I said to my wife the other day, I said,
the fabulous Tammy.
I said, honey, I'm going to really do this as soon as the election's over. I'm going to spend about a month. And this is all about advertising. As Live the Dream Media grows, we need more. I'm going to study the market locally.
Right.
But I said, I'm not even going to mess with it until we're completely clear. So probably the first week after the election.
What are we studying?
I'm going to start listening to radio stations and watch TV stations, which I don't do either one of those locally, other than the Wake Up Tucson. Well, I do listen to that.
You're sweet.
And but I don't listen or watch any of the local stuff. I'm a streamer, other than the baseball stuff.
Right.
And we'll get to that in a minute. I want to throw a little something at that, but I want to really see who is advertising on our local channels, TV. It's going to be boring because I'm going to have the notepad out and writing these names down. And it's not only local, but national as well. I want to really know who's advertising where.
There's a service you can pay for that will give you everything.
Really?
Yes.
I can save my time. I don't have to wade through this.
Yep.
Okay. Well, thank you,
Your
Chris. I'm glad we
AI masters are already taking care of this.
Because I'm like, I'm going to spend, 100 hours over the next 30 days. You save me. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's a service that, it's smart for that service.
Does it break it down, like who it is?
Oh, yeah.
Joe's. Hey.
We're gonna meet someone later today that will tell you exactly the name
beautiful.
of it.
By the way, Ham Bones Monday. Yes.
You went to Ham Bones.
Yeah. Ham Bones. I think we got out there about 1 o'clock. David had something to.
It's my friend CJ's meat and three joint on.
He was not there.
He was off. I heard
he was at the Dodger. He's a Met fan. I didn't.
Correct.
I
so he saw them get eliminated.
Yeah.
What'd you guys have?
Well, we had a little bit of everything, and then we shared it. David had the pork chops, spot on. Tammy had the meatloaf, spot on, and I had the Thanksgiving dinner.
Nice.
And we just kind of, nibbled off of each other's. We did it.
Sure.
We weren't in our forks in each other's plate, but it was really, really good. And you know what? For that time of day on a Monday, he had a pretty good little crowd coming and going. And the guys he had working there, they were just good dudes. You could tell they were having fun. They were enjoying what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I encourage them to make a bunch of money down there and get to the Northwest as quick as possible.
HambonesTucson.com. Find out more.
What, 2027 South Craycroft? Or
he's on Craycroft between 29th and Davis Mountain Air Force Base. Right next to Mama Louise.
Yep.
And
good stuff. Really good stuff. Hey, real quick.
Yeah.
World Series. Not excited at all that the Dodgers and the Yankees are going to be there. Thank you. Payroll. And that's a Yankee fan that just provided that soundtrack, by the way.
That's our good friend Raul is in the meat locker this morning.
I've got a good buddy, Jim, that's a big Yankee fan. You're a Met fan, aren't you? More like if you had to pick one or the other.
You're a Met or Yankee?
Yeah.
I guess I grew up as a Met fan, but then I kind of gave up.
You and Mookie, you're tight, right?
Once we hired Willie Randolph, New York Yankee second baseman, a great guy. I have nothing against it. As a Met manager, we had problems. We're not doing that.
But here's where I wanted to go.
It soiled the team after that. It was like the Islanders when they put that Gorton's Fisherman jerseys on in the early 90s.
Yeah.
That was a problem too.
But a huge payroll for both of these teams. Dodgers are number 2. The Mets are number 1 in payroll this year. Dodgers like 325, Yankees 302. Dodgers, that's not including.
So you're saying there's going to be plus 600?
Actually, it's almost 700 if you count Ohtani's deferred
All
money.
right, so $700 million of payroll on a World Series field.
But you know what? Being a capitalist, you get what you pay for.
I understand.
Right? And the 2 best teams are probably in the World Series. I don't think anybody can.
So you're going to be talking baseball. Let's talk baseball.
But I want to talk about Fernando real quick.
That's where I'm going to head here. Yeah. I'm going to take this to Fernando Valenzuela, who passed away yesterday at the age of 63.
Yeah.
Way too young. And Matt and I talked a little bit about this on Wake Up this morning because he grew up in the Southern LA kid. Right. And how important and huge Fernando was just as a personality. Yeah. And a baseball player.
If you were alive in 1981, you did not have to be a baseball fan to know what we're talking about.
Absolutely correct. But what he really epitomized. Now, yes, he had that interesting wind up. He did the look up. I've never seen anyone look up and then
never since then.
Right,
breathing through his eyeballs like Nuke LaRouche.
That's true. So I was a pitcher when I grew up. I went to pitching clinics and all this stuff. And when you were pitching, right, you took your signal you're getting your signals from the catcher, but you're concentrating on target. Right, that was part of the visualization of excellence. Is the idea that as I'm going through my full wind up, I got my leg coming back, I'm rotating towards the target, all that jazz. My eyes are supposed to be on where I'm throwing.
You're dragging your knee like Mr. Tom Terrific.
Absolutely drag my knee. And so the idea that he would look up to heaven. And then pitch. I can do this now on TV. It's never been done before, really, by
I don't think it's
anyone. I'm sure someone did it, but
no one's really ever done it since then. He never really picked the target up, I don't think, until the very last second.
Correct. Well, how could you?
Exactly. He's all over the place. Eyes in the air.
He's feeling it like a Jedi.
Yeah, he really was. That guy, though, man, I looked it up to make sure my memory was correct. He won the Rookie of the Year and the Cy Young Award in 81, his first year. And he also took a 2-0 Yankee lead in that World Series the last time they faced each other, and won Game 3 in L.A. that turned it around, and the Dodgers came back and won that World Series.
So let me ask you this: you're a little older than I am, but you remember the kind of golden age of kind of baseball through the 70s and the 80s and things like this, right?
I'll go back to the 60s, actually.
All right.
Okay.
And so my comment about why did we love Fernando so much plays to a bigger subject matter is in mostly all major sports now, there's no characters anymore.
Personalities, yeah.
Right? There's no one that's like I'm even interested in liking or hating.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And really,
The NBA is a little bit like that from the standpoint of LeBron. You either love him or you hate him.
Right.
In almost I say like professional wrestling kind of mentality, because that's kind of what the NBA, I hate to say it because I'm a fan, but it's become almost like you already know who's going to win this thing. I could right now, and we probably should because the NBA just started. We could list the conference championship teams probably right now and not get 3 out of 4.
By the way, the Vince McMahon documentary on Netflix is worth your time. It's very fast. Okay. Watch the first 3 episodes. That's about it. It gets a little tired after that. But no personalities.
And the Boston Red Sox, although it's been on ESPN, it's on Netflix now. The 2004 down 3-0.
Oh, okay.
That's on as well.
Awesome. But there's no personalities.
None.
Right?
There really isn't.
I can't. Well,
I'm sitting here trying to think of one right now.
So in baseball right now, you watch baseball way more than I do.
Mike Trout, but he's not he's a good ball. He's been injured a lot lately. But there's no Ken Griffey Jr. like there was when the kid was playing.
So what the hell is going on? They were all raised like zombies?
I don't know.
Right? Was this the idea of how when you play a sport 11 and a half months out of the year, and this is all you do as a child, you have no chance to develop anything?
Maybe Dan Streeter, I'm trying to think of the word he used, and it's not conformity, but it would be something like conformity. Maybe that has a lot, although we have so many Latin players, I can't. But he was talking about you're curious or he didn't use the word conform, but it's a word that would be kind of like conform. And I wonder if, especially the American ball players, maybe because they would all be students of this current system, educational system. Maybe there is something there.
I'm just
play with it. Play by the rules. In other words.
So even if you want to look at the really, we can talk about the great players of the NBA, right? So you got if you look at Magic and Bird, right? Mm-hmm. Both great players, great personalities.
Yeah.
Bird was a maniac.
Yeah.
In more ways than one.
And was quite a trash talker.
Oh, wait.
I mean, maybe the Trash Talker Hall of Fame #1.
If you want to go watch, there's compilations on YouTube. Mm-hmm. It's interviews of NBA players talking about what a trash talker and how horrible Larry Bird would verbally and then by his play abuse you.
And he was able to jump about that high, by the way.
Right. I'm just...
the French lick, what'd they call him? The French lick kick? Yeah.
Hick from French lick.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, right? So our good friend Raul's in there. He played baseball till recently, right? Raul, put your beautiful face on the camera, please. You're going to be my...
head. I see the headset going on. There he is, right there.
There he is.
What's up, guys?
How you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great, and you?
Not too bad. So you're a kid. You played as a kid. You played baseball all the way through college. How many months a year did you play baseball?
12 months out of the year. Man.
Yeah,
I was notorious for hitting 300 days in a row, man.
Yeah.
We didn't take breaks.
It was, in retrospect, as a old, grizzled 25-year-old.
24.
24.
Yeah.
24-year-old. Was this... do you regret playing baseball 300 days a year? Should you have taken a break? Should you have mixed a salad into your baseball regimen?
You're talking to a guy with a broken back right now, too, from baseball. But no, because it taught me what it meant to grind. And I've taken that everywhere I've gone because once you put your all into one thing and you start seeing what comes out of it, it makes you want to do that with everything.
All right.
Hey, he just said why I love the game over the others. He just said it right there. It's a grind, and it's a daily thing. Professional baseball, Major League Baseball, those guys start seriously training, let's say Valentine's Day. They're training.
Valentine's Day, pitchers and catchers.
Yeah, when they show up, Valentine's Day, and they're still playing now. So Valentine's to Halloween.
Right.
Every day. There's really no days off. That's kind of basketball. We got travel time, and then we got to set because we got to heal. And football is brutal. It's like being in a car wreck every Sunday. But there's a lot of gaps.
Wouldn't basketball be the most?
It's got to be the toughest because you're running up and down.
You got
but it's
82 games a year.
And you're running nonstop. I mean, it's like a track meet.
And it's physical.
And you're beating and banging on each other for sure. Hey, Raul, let me ask you a question.
Hockey's very physical
Hockey's very physical. Raul, I'm going to ask you a question because Chris and I are sitting out here, the old school guys. Are we missing someone in Major League Baseball, be it a player or a manager, that has that charisma that we're talking about from the old school, like the Fernandos, although Fernando was almost like a freak of nature, but there are plenty of other guys. Are we missing somebody?
Yeah, well, you got Fernando Tatis, who's the boogeyman of baseball because of what happened with him with the steroid usage. You got Bryce Harper and Shohei Ohtani right now.
Okay. You got a point. You got to actually see you got a point. Yeah, you know what? You got a point. But again, that's almost that professional boxing mentality.
But at the same time, right? So,
but he did mention three guys that are definitely controversial, for the lack of a better word.
So there's three.
Yeah.
How many players play in the Major League Baseball right now?
Well, 30
times 32?
30 times 26.
Oh, 26?
Any regular
All right,
day.
so we got 700 players.
800 players.
We found three.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, it's a cultural, generational thing, and we're starting to sound like our parents.
Yeah,
not like the old days.
We're like that commercial. What other? I think it's insurance or something. Don't be like your parents. But not only were the players had personalities and people really, but the managers, Earl Weaver, Billy Martin, for two right off the top of your Leo DeRocher, these guys were characters,
right?
Even though they were bench jockeys at that point in their career, these guys were characters, and they've taken that complete. That's just been eliminated. They've taken all. There's no argument anymore,
right?
And that's part of the game for me was seeing Earl Weaver just lose his mind.
So we got 11 days till Election Day. Are you thrilled it's going to be over?
13.
No, 11. It was 2 weeks from yesterday.
Yeah.
So
how many days in a week?
14. I'm okay.
Great. Thank you, Raul.
It's been a rough day.
Yeah. Stop it with the math problems.
13 days until Election Day. You're looking forward to it being over?
Absolutely.
What have you learned from election year 2024, Clinton?
It starts, 2024 started in 20.
It's true.
Yeah. I mean, we're in stop election cycles. And if I could, I would do two things if I was king or a czar for a day. Term limits would probably be at the top of my list. But number two is you just can't campaign for 4 years. We got to figure out a way to shorten that. I would say the Democratic candidate has proven you don't have to campaign for 4 years because this thing's a coin toss. I have a pretty strong feeling of how I think it's going to go. I really think that Mr. Trump will be reelected again.
Yeah.
I mean, reelected.
Yeah.
I really feel that and it's not that's not because I hope that happens. It's just my read of what's the tea leaves right now.
Yeah.
And you know what convinced me? Yesterday, I see a young guy. I won't say who he's driving for, but he's driving for a large corporation delivering in the plaza. And you know who he was listening to? Joe Rogan. And when I looked at the guy, he's probably Rose, age 24, 25. I'm like, not that tells me who he's voting for, but that kind of tells me who if he's listening to Joe Rogan, he's 24 years old. What does that tell you?
I mean, Rogan's listeners are not 55 plus.
No. And I'm looking at him,
and they're
going,
more independently minded.
And I'm looking at him. I'm like, I think this, plus all the stuff I read, and I'll go on record right now saying I think Donald Trump will be elected the 47th president of the United States.
So Rogan would probably say he's a libertarian-esque independent.
Yeah.
That probably is what I assume.
And you know what? That kind of describes who and what I am.
Sure.
I'm an independent for certain.
I would even say possibly he leaned a little left when he started.
Oh, I think he he still maybe leaned.
But you know
left.
something? COVID crushed that.
Yeah. You know who else said that?
COVID crushed that. And when they went after him for taking horse dewormer when he got COVID, right? Because his doctors gave him kind of a thing of ivermectin, blah blah blah, to take care. And he's in really good shape. He works out and everything like that. That was the final straw for Rogan.
You know who else said that yesterday?
Who?
Former President Barack Obama.
What did he say?
He said that the reason we are this tight in the election and he didn't say this, but it looks like Trump's probably going to win based on early ballots. He said it was COVID. He said it was all the stuff that had happened through COVID, and he started rattling them all off.
Right.
He said that's the reason why we're where we are. And you know what? He's not wrong.
So it's cute that he was maligning the division in America because he's one of the biggest dividers I've ever seen as a U.S. president.
Agreed.
I mean, just one versus the other. One group of Americans against the other. That's how he. That's
governed. How we politic anymore, though.
But he was
Chris. And I'm not.
That's what always killed me about his hope and change horse crap.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's how we politic. The other guy's bad. I don't hear anybody.
Nope.
Right now, because they're saturating even the streaming market because I don't pay for too many that are free.
It's
killing
frightening.
Me.
They have so much money going into these elections.
It's just
they're looking for anything they can. Any people who you never thought were going to get that much political, are getting that much political.
It's insane.
I mean, it's off the charts.
I won't mention names, but I heard a candidate say yesterday that a third of their campaign war chest had been received in the last week.
Yep.
A third. This person's been running for office for 6-8 months, and a third of what they brought into their campaign war chest came in last week.
So coming in, I want to go back to this 2020 to where we're at now. Is if the COVID wars that happened, right? As I always say, the silver lining is it revealed everyone to exactly who they are in what situation. And sad to say, a lot of our elected officials, from presidents down to school board members, use it as an excuse because yes, there's the initial, but then they held on too long and they crushed a lot of lives.
Both parties.
Yep. The Democrats were way worse.
Oh, the Democrats were worse. But
just telling you.
I'm just saying both parties.
Right. The leading guy was Republican Ron DeSantis. He was the gold standard on handling this.
Well, we'll look at the results.
Yep.
Florida had really no issues. They kind of survived the whole thing. They're sitting out there by themselves.
Have you watched the Bill Maher DeSantis interview they did in the last so many months? But they went through that, and Maher said, "Thank God you were there to be the gold standard of how to handle this." Right. But so
because I remember Bill Maher early on saying, "What are we doing?"
Yep.
Early when we're all locked down, he's got his little videos.
He made the mistake of doing he did a comedy tour because he's a stand-up, and he went to Florida as part of his tour, and he saw.
Was that 20 or 21? Maybe?
Probably 21. It was 21. He saw the difference in life.
Yeah.
Compared to where he was in Cal. I mean, you can't do more diametrically opposed than
California,
the individual.
Florida,
So it was, to me, the people, you have to, did the Republicans, whoever the opponent is of someone who is a control lock freak in the COVID world, are they making is that being remembered by voters? Right, who they are.
I think it is. I think that's the point that Barack Obama was making yesterday was, there's a price to pay for this, and this is the price. He didn't say verbatim, but this is what he was saying. This is the price we pay.
And then economically, back to, I'll give you the James Carville, it's the economy, stupid.
How did that set up, though?
COVID. Right.
That got set up by COVID.
Sad to say, the Democrats and a few Republicans went along with it like a bunch of idiots so they could say bipartisan, right? Because 4 morons came across.
Yeah.
Is the idea that saying things that are Inflation Reduction Acts.
Yeah.
Right? So go watch Milton Friedman or Thomas Sowell explain to you how inflation happens. Too many dollars chasing too few goods. And when we printed all of that damn money, right, and just blew it out there in all these projects.
It's not unlike 08, 09 when we did. I mean, it's almost kind of like the same mentality by the same people. You know what we're going to do? You know how we're going to solve this problem? We're just going to throw a boatload of money at it. We're going to print a bunch of money. We're going to pay a bunch of people that lost the money. We're going to bail them out because that's what we did. And we wrote checks for everybody. This time in Coben, we wrote checks for everybody. It was just American Public. It's almost the same. 09, whatever they call it, the depression, the recession, whatever. And now it's almost the same thing. 2 different culprits. One is a bunch of loose spending. The other is a disease that we don't really understand. Well, we're just going to throw a bunch of money at it.
Yeah.
And this one we're going to lock everybody down, by the way, just to make things simpler.
You're talking about the real estate meltdown of 08.
Yeah, 08.
In the end, with all of this is so what we're seeing is when Democrats go, I can't believe this a-hole Trump is doing so well.
Yeah.
It's the economy, stupid.
It is.
People do remember. They do remember 4.5 years ago.
I've said that from day one, from Jim Carville.
Right.
And he was right at that time, by the way.
Look, you're still paying I still paid $3.33 for gas. I'm not even getting we're rolling into the election drop of our gas.
I did see it under $3 yesterday over by Ham Bones.
Yeah, you got to be. It's in the right neighborhood.
Yeah, and there was a $2.97, I think. I'm like, whoa.
I told this story this morning. Sometimes when you get in your 50s, you make yourself feel you do dangerous stuff like you go skydiving
or south of river,
right? And that's. I was meeting my brother for breakfast. I was picking him up at the auto mall. His car was getting some work done, whatever, right? And I noticed I was really low on gas. I don't know. Usually I'm pretty good at these things. And I went to the gas station on Prince and Oracle, the 76 gas station, and it was all. I got the rush, the adrenaline. Am I going to get stabbed?
Yeah.
It was hot. It was freaking hot.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean that's where we're at. But $3.33 for gas. Right, it was $1.97 a gallon right before this change of administration. Yeah. $1.97 for God's sakes, right? And that is that's the crux of your inflation right there. Mm-hmm. Because when you get your stuff, when you go to the store and you get your Hot Pockets to shove down your cram hole, right? It comes on a truck.
Yeah. Yeah,
and when diesel doubles in price
and triples,
it increases.
At one point, it was $5 a gallon.
Right, increases this cost of moving goods.
I remember when diesel went over $1, and I was losing my mind. Now that was a number of years ago, and now we're $5, and we're back a little bit from that. You're exactly right. The hamburger, I'm a big hamburger guy. Chuck roast. I mean, I'm like buying filet mignon here.
It is amazing. Right? I just wanted, not even just a hamburger. You want a chuck roast to throw in the slow cooker.
Yeah.
The slow cooker. Yeah. And it's
Chris.
Yes.
We got something in the chat for you that you might
What we got?
Hit me.
So it's under Tomcat.
Okay.
COVID caused an economic issue which has greatly improved since 2021.
So when they say that, so some people, what they say is, wages went up, right, during the last, or the stock market went up. That's their thing.
You know
right?
what? I would add,
but wages did not catch up to the price of paying for things.
Can you, Tomcat, do us a solid and give us a 1 or 2 examples of how that happened.
Absolutely. Love to hear it.
Yeah.
But when you look at, in Phoenix, Arizona, right, it's a community of, regionally, it's 4.4 million people. It's the 4th or 5th largest now region in the U.S. According to the Joint Economic Committee of Ways and Means, I think you have to basically have made get a pay raise of somewhere between 22 and 26% to keep up with the cost of stuff.
Yeah.
And you just can't say that, right? Discretionary income has been obliterated, right? You can't say that the lower middle class that goes to McDonald's more often than the average bear can handle the $15 Big Mac extra value meal.
Yeah.
Right? There's no extra. Well, there's a lot of extra, just no value.
Now, there have been some, you can consider, factual. Your home's worth about twice as much as it was in 20. Your taxes went up accordingly, but did your wages go up? 40%?
No.
Because everything else did.
Then the thing about the price of housing, that's another thing they bring up. Well, your house is worth more. Well, if you look at the amount of resales that are getting sold, it's the lowest in 15 to 20 years because no one has anywhere to go. Yeah. And if they go buy a new house, they don't want to pay the extra high interest rate, even though the interest. When I bought my house, I paid 7.5%. Right? Now, if you told that to someone, hey, I'm going to pay 7.5% fixed for 30 years, they'd be like, oh, my God.
Yeah, but guys, again, old school, the old guy, grandpa.
Right.
I'm going to be a grandpa.
I heard.
Real estate market, early 80s, 18% was the interest rate. 18. We got excited when it went to 12. Yeah. Oh, my gosh, it's 12%. 10. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And now we're doing 2. Or for a while, we're not there now. Where are we at right now? Are we at 4 or 5? I don't know.
5-ish.
I'm not buying and selling a house.
Maybe it could be more. But what we're talking about is, in the end, and this is for Tomcat and anyone else out there, discretionary income, to me, is the ultimate economic metric on whether or not your economy and how your government affects your economy is doing.
Hey, are some people better off today than they were? Yeah, the corporate America is in quite a bit. The Dow Jones today is probably, I haven't checked, but it's probably 43.
So here's the thing about the government spending, and I've talked to a couple of different local officials, elected officials, who control, decent sized budgets out there. The way this whole Inflation Reduction and Build Back Better, whatever they had their names for it, right, is you had to spend it also.
Yeah.
So one of these elected officials in the Southern Arizona region said, she was telling me, like, I would just say, hey, can we just keep it to pad our wallet and just, shore up the savings, the rainy day fund? Well, you can't, or they take it back.
Yeah.
So what happens is you say, now we got to build something. I wish they'd build more roads. They didn't. Yeah. All right. They were building, we need a park. We need this building for arts and crafts. We need this, right? And what happens is now all of a sudden the money's flowing, right? All of these construction companies start going after the business. And what happens is there's another 29,000 municipalities with hundreds of $1 millions saying, build me something. Yeah. And when you're in that situation, everything starts going up. Yeah. Then you got to start paying your guys and girls more to work for you, because what's happening is these other companies have so much work that they're trying to hire them too.
Chris, you said it a few minutes ago, and the reality of it is we are a financially illiterate society.
Oh, yeah.
And
now he's not saying that Tomcat's illiterate.
No, I'm just saying as a percentage wise, most people really don't understand basic math. I mean, it's just financial math. So not basic, but also most people can add 2 plus 2. But but you mentioned the names, the Friedmans and the Sewells of the world. If you just don't that's why the 09 was crazy. It's like, what are we doing? Too big to fail. Are you kidding me right now?
So what we should have done in 09, of course, is we should have taken, instead of, because what they were doing, they were part of it, and go watch The Big Short, the movie.
There you go.
All right. Nothing better than when they talk about, how he takes different people to explain these complicated financial. Yeah. So there's Margot Robbie in the bathtub, right? But there's Anthony Bourdain, God rest his soul, talking about how they would bundle up the bad loans and then resell those to somebody without telling them on how really bad the loans were, kind of thing.
Illegal activity, because it was. If you really think about this is mob stuff.
And he talks about fish stew. You take the leftover fish and throw it into right
into a few carcasses.
Right. What we should have done is be very public about all of these things and just flush those loans out. Right. Just flush them all.
It's kind of like our debt right now.
Right. Right, and we didn't do it.
How's
And we just
that
kept on,
gonna get
and we
paid
kept
back?
on propping and propping
Are we
and
kidding
propping.
ourselves right now? What are we, 34 trillion in
34
debt?
trillion.
Are we kidding ourselves? Are we really kidding ourselves that somehow that's going to be recouped?
So remember, when you say 34 million, now you just talked about financial illiteracy of the average American. What's the financial illiteracy of a elected government official?
I think they're the same as the regular people.
Right.
I mean,
So when you tell someone, even a congressperson,
yeah,
34 trillion. Do you know what that means?
yeah,
The eyes roll back.
yeah.
They glaze over, and it's over.
That means your family of four owes the government roughly $500,000.
Whatever it is.
How's that going to get paid back? Come on, Chris. Are you kidding me right now?
So-
you just said it. Why don't we just, pay off whoever we need to, pennies on the dollar, because that's the only way you're going to get paid. Because the number keeps going up. It's not going down.
So one of my favorite lines when it comes to this is King Louis, the guy that they cut his head off during the French Revolution.
Yeah.
He said, "Après moi, le déluge," right?
Please translate.
After me, the flood,
Yeah.
right? I'm not going to be here
Yeah.
for the flood,
Yeah.
right? And so that's what we do. And
We're just
so
kicking it down the road.
we're kicking it but in the end, all these people in Congress don't think they're going to be here
Well, they're not.
when the crap hits the fan.
Yeah,
Or they at least won't be in office.
Yeah. Well, they won't
when
be.
it happens.
They won't be.
But that's where you're at. So how do you solve that? So I know that they tell themselves that there's a death curve with the baby boomers.
That's true.
That's what they
That's
think.
a fact.
Right? Because in relation, I'll keep saying it again, 75% of our budget has nothing to do with running a government.
Yep.
Social Security, Medicare, interest on debt, and Obamacare. That is 75% of the budget that keeps cranking this debt up. So again, quote Congressman Schweikert, because it's a great line, if you go by our budget, we're the world's largest insurance company that has nuclear missiles. That's where we're at as a country right now.
I'm just curious, Raul, did Tomcat give us any examples of I'm not trying to call Tomcat out. I just want to know
genuinely interested in the discourse.
I just want to know what
Biden reduced inflation during his admin while it rose during Trump's admin well before the pandemic.
I can't. That doesn't make sense.
That doesn't make sense. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Tomcat. That's just rhetoric. That's not
inflation.
No, thanks for watching, by the way.
Trump
trade wars and tax cuts did us no favors.
Okay, Tomcat, you seem like a nice guy, but or girl, but you're shooting out Democrat talking points to me now, which is fine.
Half the public.
Before COVID, the inflation was very, very low, and at the same time, the economy was cooking, just rocking and rolling.
Facts.
Yeah, it was. Okay. And so what Tomcat said the Say's doing is they blew up inflation, right? It's still high as hell.
Yeah.
All right. And then what the talking point is that because it didn't, I trust me, I listen to Bloomberg and CBS on Wake Up Tucson every bottom, and me and Matt listen to it. We kind of look at each other and go, did they just say that? Right. And they'll say inflation is cooling off. Right. And what the actual report was that instead of it going up 0.4, it went up 0.3. It still went up, but it didn't go up as fast.
Yeah.
But they say that's the thing.
Hey, you know what? Again, Tomcat, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for participating.
I love it. We hate echo chambers, dude.
Oh, man, come on. Well, hey, Chris, that's why I chose 35 years ago to choose to be an independent, to think from. I don't listen to left. I don't listen to right. I listen to everybody, literally, and then form an opinion based on what I can see, what I can feel, what I know about people around me, what they're telling me. And you know what? The cool thing is we don't live in echo chambers. I'm surrounded by probably, in my life personally, probably a perfect demographic of the United States. Multi-cultured, by the way, a third. The people that I'm closest to.
Yep.
And people that I respect, even if I disagree with them.
That's what you're supposed to do.
How about that? And you know what? Then I make my own observation based on all that information and what I read and the skills and knowledge that I may have acquired. And I'm telling you for a fact that probably, and I don't mean to be mean, but the reality of it is, matter of fact, I can prove it. My number. 93% of Americans do not understand economics or finance. And I'll tell you why I say that. We are all given basically the same opportunity, are we not? I mean, some people are born. I wasn't born wealthy.
Right.
I'm not wealthy now, but I was not born wealthy. I was blue collar. We worked hard. My siblings and myself have all been successful through hard work.
Were you a truck driver?
I was at one time. I was.
What was your handle?
What was it, Chris?
Hard drive.
Yeah, hard drive. And my sister's a doctor. My brother worked for the town of Mesa. My little sister's a trader. We all have been successful in different lines because we had a good work ethic. But the reality of it is Americans, we all have like a 40-year earning window. Is that kind of fair to say?
Sure.
Some people might be further ahead, some might be further behind based on how they were raised. But once we hit about 20, 25 years old and we enter that workforce, everybody's given about the same amount of time.
Yep.
And most people I know that are successful were not born successful. They created their own success.
Well, usually, so any kind of wealth that's just gifted, either from your family or the government, doesn't make it better for the person themselves,
it doesn't.
right?
So if you've earned that. But so here's a fact, and you can look this up through census. U.S. News and World Report used to do this. 93% of all Americans retire needing Social Security to survive.
That's true.
That's a fact. So what is that? We all had the same. We all kind of started. The vast majority started at 93%. So 93% of us started at
part
basically
of it's
the same
financial
place.
illiteracy.
I think a lot of it's financial illiteracy.
Also,
I think a lot of it's hard work.
Yep.
I think a lot of it's learning on the job, if you will, of life. Figuring out what works for you, because what works for you doesn't necessarily work for
But human
me.
nature is we don't like to save.
No, it's hard.
Right, you got to have the nicest car.
It's hard.
You got to have the nicest TV.
It's hard to do
that.
those
Keeping
things.
up with the Joneses
Very hard
is
to
one
do.
of the most. So before we get out of here, because I see we're getting close, one of the big conversations, we won't have it now, but we'll have it over time because we're starting to have it a little bit on Wake Up, but at the same time, I'm just having this with people I respect of all parties over beer. Is two questions, right? What are the real basics of government that everyone can agree on, at least the ones that the independents care about, who are sick of the party politics? And then number two, this is one of the big ones, how do you attract better talent to run for office?
You know what? I don't think that's possible.
Hold that thought for our next conversation.
I don't think it's possible.
So
I'd love to say I'm wrong, and I'm not going to get into why I don't think it's possible other than someone way in my past, a family member that's long passed away,
yeah,
said way back in the day, I will tease you with this,
yes,
said, smart people get into business. The rest drift into politics and bureaucracy.
hold that thought. That's beautiful. Before we get going, what's your World Series prediction?
Well, I think the Dodgers now. I think Fernando with the Wings. I'm going to go with the Dodgers.
And how many games?
And they're playing. They've got. Boy, I'd like to see 7. I could see it go 6 or 7. I don't think. I mean, the Yankees are just stacked.
I'm going Yankees in 6.
Okay. I'll go Dodgers in 6.
Awesome.
We'll make some little off camera bet on that.
Sure. Fine by me.
Yeah.
All right, Clint Peak. You're a wonderful gentleman.
One thing, real quick.
Yes.
Download that Live the Dream Media app.
I'm telling everybody. That's what you do.
Download that sucker. Hey, we're at almost 1,300 in 4 weeks.
Even if I'm an Android user, I can use it?
Yes, absolutely.
And an Apple user.
And it's free. It's free. And if you don't like the music that's currently playing, as soon as we end, send us your playlist. We'll drop it right in there.
Love it. What's my max of songs they can send in?
David told me the other day he's got one playlist. It's 55 hours.
Wow. All right, I'll have to do it.
So you would just take over programming at 55 hours.
That's why I'm going to do the DeSimone classic progressive rock channel on the Live the Dream Media app. So
thanks for joining us. Hey, Tomcat, seriously, appreciate you watching, viewing, and participating.
Bring us more.
Bring it to us.
Raul, thanks for your efforts today, as always, my friend.
Thanks, brother.
That's Raul. Young man. What's the name of that young man's sports show that people should be listening to?
Southern Arizona Sports Talk. It's Friday at
Sassed?
Friday at 8:30.
Getting sassy with Sass.
Yeah, Sass.
All right, everyone, have a great day. Remember, download that app, Live the Dream Media.
Be nice to each other.
God bless you. And as Bob Ross once said, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.